Yeah, here we are. Got something different for you today. I had a pie, had a what do you call it? A mess of oysters. Hey, I got a mess of oysters in here, and there were too many to be able to shuck them, eat them all. So I poached them up and then let them brine overnight. And then I smoked them up, and they came out pretty good and tasty. So stick around and you can see what I did. Yeah, here I am, not back at the grind now. I'm in the house. Time to do some cooking. So somehow oysters show up here. There's a box full of them there. There's a bag full of them there, and another box full of them right here. So that's too many for me to shuck and eat, and there's not enough people coming around at Christmas to shuck and eat them all. So what I do is I smoke them. So smoked oysters come out really nice. They're just like candies. First thing is to get a pot of water going, and I put in just water and a bunch of lemon juice, maybe some lemon rinds or something like that, and poach them in that. And you poach them for like 3 or 4 minutes once it's boiling, and then until they open up. Then I'll put them in the sink and cool them off and shuck them all. And once they're shucked, the next step is to put them in a brine overnight and let them plump up in the refrigerator. The brine, let me see what that stuff is. I'll tell you that when I get there, because I forget right now. And then put them on the smoker, which is out here in the back. I've got one of these, what do you call that? That's a Pit Boss barbecue smoker, or whatever you want to call it. But in here it's full of wood chips. So basically what this is a wood-fired convection oven for the most part, but it fires the wood in underneath here and you get nice smoke out of it. So you can set the temperature down here just to smoking, let it smoke, and you put them on for a couple hours smoking, and then that'll be that. But I'll show you all that as it goes along. Anyhow, we'll get going. I'll put some of these, oh, there the water's boiling, so I guess it's time to put some oysters in, right? Doesn't take long for it to get boiling. So here's batch number 1 goes in. We'll just let them poach up. I could likely put another bunch in there because it's not full yet. So I'll put a couple of these. These guys here are big guys. I don't know where they came from, but they're great big huge things. We'll see how they look when they come out of there. There we go. That's enough of them in there. Now I'll just let them in there, and they'll poach for 3 or 4 minutes once the water boils, and then they open up, and then you can easily shuck them. Oh, it can be a messy operation, this poaching oysters. So I got the fan going, and then the stove will be a complete mess by the time I'm done with it, but that's all right. Suppose I could turn down the heat a bit, and that'd help. Doesn't help much very quickly. Just want to poach them up until they open up. I'll give them a stir here in a minute. Yeah, so there's batch number 1. Now I put them in here. There's my little potato scrubber hiding his head underneath there. Don't blame you. So I put them in the sink, let them cool off, and I've rinsed them with cold water. Just give them a rinse off. One of them came apart. Must be an oyster here somewhere. Don't know where. Oh well, we'll find it later. Anyway, there you go. Now when I'm poaching them, I put a big splash of this real remin in there, and that just sort of keeps the smell down. It makes it neutralizes the smell of them all. There's batch number 2 going in there. Now I put them on the timer up here for about 4 minutes. Let them oversplay and all that and stuff and make noise, make a mess for 4 minutes. Then I'll put them in the sink. And while those ones are in the sink, I'll get these ones shucked into a little bowl. Yes, indeed. While those ones are cooking, I'll get these ones shucked into a little bowl. Yeah, some of these big oysters are huge. Just fill up the shell. There you go. Had a few of these big guys in here. Now I'll carry on with the little guy. Yeah, so there's the last of them in there. Now I know why they call them a mess of oysters. That's why it's called a mess of oysters right there. Anyway, I'll let these guys cool off a bit, then I'll shuck them out. There's the bowl is getting filled up, and I'll start making my brine. The kitty cat's decided to take it out on the chair. Hey, don't take it out on the chair. The chair didn't do anything to you. Yeah, so here's the brine now. That's 2 tablespoons of brown sugar in there. That's a half a cup of ground coarse kosher salt. That goes in, and then you need 1.5 liters of water. Kitty cat, you don't need to be up here. This is not for you. The cat's trying to help, so I got to get my liter measure out. Yeah, here you are, back again. Then now I've let the brine sort of set for about 10 minutes there, and it comes out nice and clear. And so there's the raspberry point oysters. They go in. And here's the other guys. And they go in. That's a pretty good haul of oysters if you ask me. Now they go in here for about 24 hours or whatever. Like you can leave them in there for longer or shorter. But I leave them in for about overnight. And then tomorrow I'll take them out and I'll rinse them a couple of times. Then they go onto the smoker. So I'll see you again tomorrow. Yeah, back at the, what do you call this? Must be the back at the grind cooking show. Anyhow, 24 hours later, these guys have been soaking in there overnight. They actually look pretty good. A couple of them are pretty big. That's a big oyster. Anyway, now what I do is I dump them out. Well, rinse them out. I've got a, what do you call this thing? Whatever you call that thing. So I dump them through that thing, and then I'll put them back in that bowl, rinse them with water a couple of times that way, and then get them ready to go on the smoker. Smoker's running. I'll show you. This way. Like, there's the smoke fume, it says down there. And then, so I turned it to 200 and let it just smoke away in there. And then they go on that for a couple of hours. Anyway, back to it. Yeah, so there they are. They've been rinsed a couple of times with just tap water. And then I'll put them on a piece of paper towel and sort of pat them dry. Then I'll set them up on the thing for smoking. Yeah, they're kind of patted dry. They're not, it's not like they're dried out or anything. Now I'm going to put them back in the same bowl here, and then I'll put some olive oil on them and sort of get everything coated up with olive oil. Yeah, so there's, what do I got here? Well, a slippy bottle, extra virgin olive oil. It's not necessarily that Bertolli stuff. I like this bottle. Then you just mix them up by hand. Hey, mix by hand. Try to get everything coated with olive oil. Now, how do I turn off the camera? Yeah, they're back in the in this draining thing, and that olive oil kind of eliminates the water from them, so that you let them drain for a few minutes, and the water will drain off them, plus a bunch of the olive oil. And then I've got this other thing. Wait a minute. This thing here, which is, you know, good for doing vegetables and stuff like on the barbecue. So you put about that many into that one. And don't you know I have another one? Because you want to be able to get the smoke around them all. Oops, pointing the wrong way as usual. So there's one thing set to go. Now I've got in here, I've got another thing. Same idea. There's the other one set to go. This one's got a few too many on it, so I'll just transfer some over to here. That lets the smoke come up through and keeps them all kind of separated. And some of these things are big. Now, I've got olive oil all over my hands, right? But this is coarse salt, or, you know, like kosher salt again. And just lightly sprinkle them. Don't put too much on, because then they get too salty, right? But you remember those candies when you were kids that would go crack in your mouth when you chewed them down? I don't know what they called it. But this kind of gives them a little bit of that sparkle. After they smoke, they taste kind of good because it's got that little bit of sparkle on it. Anyway, that's what I'm saying. So that's enough of that. Now they're all set to go. Just stick them onto the smoker, and a couple hours later they might be done. Yeah, there, it's a windy day out here today. The trees are blowing around, but it's fairly sheltered here. So I like to keep it around 200 degrees. I've got that thing set to 200 degrees. And then I just set them in there, and away they go. They started now. In about 2 hours time, I'll come back and check them. This thing here, there's enough wood inside there. That's maple wood pellets. And I find that you can go and buy, too cold out there, but you can go and buy the real expensive stuff, like any kind of wood smoke pellets. You can get this expensive stuff, or else you can get from Canadian Tire a bag full of the kind of pellets that you put in your wood stove. Now you look at to make sure that the pellets say that there's no binding agent, and then I looked on the internet, and the company says that they're food safe, and they're maple hardwood. They cost, like, so you can go and buy the expensive stuff for $20 for half a bag, or else you can go buy this great big bag full for $6.99. Now you figure it out. Anyway, there you go. Here we are. Check it out and see how we're doing. Still at 200 degrees. And everything there is good. They're starting to get, see this color that you get on that one right down there? That's the right color. So the little ones are getting cooked up. The big ones still need more time, which is all right. We'll let them cook for another hour or two. Yeah, here I am an hour and a half later. Those are looking to be around about the right color. Maybe I'll try that one out. Yep, around about the right flavor too. I'm going to call them done. I'll start taking them in. Yeah, so there's all the smaller ones. They actually came out pretty nice. The bigger ones are still in there cooking. I'll let them smoke for a while longer. These two here might have to go back on. Yeah, I'll pick out a couple of these and put them back on. Let them go for another hour or so. Yeah, there's batch number 1 in there. Boy, they're tasty. I tried two. Make sure they're good. Quality control, you know. Now a little bit of olive oil on these things. Just drizzle a bit in there. Doesn't take much. And then I put the cover on. They're not canned. You have to keep them in the fridge. But I'll just shake them up with that olive oil on them, and that gets them all coated up nice. Then they can go into the fridge and come out, and I'll show you, after they're all done, I'll show you how I eat them, or how I like them. One of the ways, anyhow. I like them anyway. I like them straight out of the can. Straight out of the bottle is good. Now, the rest of them, back up at around 200 degrees. And that thing there is going, so I just mix them up a bit. Those big ones there, I want them to get smoked up on all the sides of them, so they'll take another hour anyhow. I'll let them go. The wind hasn't died off any. The wind hasn't died off any out here. It's still windier. Yeah, there's the last bunch in, and now I'm eating some of them. So here's the way. How is it?
They're delicious.
There you go.
Nice and salty. Nice and salty.
So that's one of the big ones here. So I take a cracker.
Little dollop of sour cream and hot sauce.
Sour cream and hot sauce. One of those guys goes on there.
And caper.
A couple of capers.
That looks delicious.
And that's the way I have it.
Mine is like that too.
Yummy. And they don't last long.
No.
Yeah, so there's kind of the haul of the oysters. There's 1, 2, 3. This one here stays at home. That one here, I guess, is for Gus. This one here is for, maybe I'll take it out to Edie's. Maybe not. We'll just see. And they're all very tasty. So, that's it for today. And that's how I smoke the oysters.